Today, we are going to be breaking down the next liquidity cycle for XRP, taking us to new all-time highs. It's going to be a really fun ride. But how do we actually get there? Not just baseless hopium and narratives. Let's actually get into the data. And today we can confirm that we officially have more RLUSD on the XRP ledger than Ethereum. And we are also going to show you why they were dead wrong. All the people that tried to say that RLUSD was going to replace XRP, completely wrong. All the folks that tried to say there was always going to be more RLUSD on Ethereum than the XRP ledger, well, as of today, that is also a wrong statement. And so let's set the record straight. Here are the facts. Let's tap in. Make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And let's dive in to what just happened. SBI VC Trade. This is a subsidiary of SBI Holdings, right? They just went live with RLUSD on their platform. Now, what you have to understand about this platform, though, is it is only Ethereum based. So the news comes out, right? And you got the usual Twitter talking heads saying the same thing. This does nothing for XRP. It's Ethereum only. Ripple doesn't even care about their own ledger, which Ripple doesn't own the XRP ledger, but they don't understand that, right? And what we need to break down here is that SBI VC Trade, the platform itself, only is Ethereum based, right? It's Ethereum layer 2s, it's that entire ecosystem. But here's why RLUSD was issued on Ethereum in the first place, right? Was to bridge that liquidity, that DeFi, all the markets and activity that's taking place over on Ethereum. It now has a bridge back to the XRP ledger. When we look at SBI VC Trade in this announcement, it was approved by Japan's Financial Service Agency. It becomes the first Type 4 electronic payment instrument with the new Japanese stablecoin framework. Fee-free deposits and withdrawals, but it is capped at about 1 million yen per transaction, which currently is about $6,000 US. This is a fully regulated, first of its kind approval on a platform run by a group that's working with Ripple for over 10 years. And they just flipped the switch for RLUSD on their platform. The Japan launch is Ethereum only for now. Deposits, withdrawals, trading, all on the Ethereum version of RLUSD. XRP ledger-based RLUSD is not accepted on the platform right now. Not yet. That's the kicker, right? XRPL support is listed as planned for the future, but there's no live date. So that's the fact, right? And I'm not going to hide from that. I don't try to spin things to make it convenient for my narrative, hopes, and dreams of high-priced XRP. I want to know what actually gets XRP to these higher prices. And I know it's liquidity, right? After being in these markets for about a decade, I've seen it come and go. This is my third bear market, and the liquidity is obviously gone. And so we got to start getting it back. And now we're going to see a broader liquidity cycle where crypto will come into favor once again. But in the meantime, what kind of utility and activity and liquidity can we drive to the network today? Well, here's where it gets interesting. RLUSD was built from day one as a natively issued multi-chain stablecoin, meaning that it's not an Ethereum coin, it's not an XRP ledger coin, it's wherever Ripple wants to issue it. And so just like Tether's been issued on dozens of blockchains, Circle has issued USD on a bunch of blockchains, or USDC, I should say, right? The same approach is being taken by Ripple. And it's very smart because we already have established capital markets, liquidity, activity, DeFi on Ethereum. We also have it on other networks as well, but Ethereum is the big one, right? That is where most of the liquidity is at. So let's go capture it, right? When you look on the Ethereum side, you have deep DeFi liquidity, you have Curve, you have Aave, you have layer 2s, and institutions have showed up on Ethereum as well. Compare that with the XRP ledger. It's fast, it's low-cost settlement, native DEX plus AMMs. XRP is the bridge asset. But the beauty of this is now you can take that institutional liquidity, you can take that DeFi liquidity, and you can bring it over to the XRP ledger to capture all of those benefits, fast, low-cost settlement, native DEX, etc. Ripple just setting the standard once again as far as the RLUSD token being available in Japan right as they get this broader stablecoin framework done. And SBI is now bringing not just RLUSD, they're also issuing their own tokenized Japanese yen on Ethereum as well too. And the next step that I'm looking for is tokenized Japanese yen on the XRP ledger as well. But SBI, right, they're got a multi-chain approach too. It's just like with the DTCC, just like with Swift, just like with a lot of these platforms, is they're taking a multi-chain approach. And so when we get the first announcement and it's RLUSD live in Japan, but it's on Ethereum, everybody, and a lot of people take that as FUD. Oh, Ripple's abandoning the XRP ledger. Ripple doesn't care about the XRP ledger. All of it's nonsense because the whole point of issuing RLUSD on Ethereum is to build that bridge, to open that door. And here's the data that I can now put in front of you guys to confirm Ripple is not abandoning the XRP ledger. When you go back to last year, RLUSD, about 80% of it was on Ethereum. We were talking about single-digit percentage of RLUSD on the XRP ledger. Fast forward to June 25th, 2026, RLUSD on the XRP ledger is now at 801 million market cap. Ethereum RLUSD is now at 795 million. So for the first time ever, the XRP ledger is the bigger home for RLUSD. XRPL share climbed from about 9% in October to just past 50% in about 8 months. In the past month, Ripple burned 539 million of RLUSD, 75% of it off of Ethereum. And that shows you, right, that somebody is trying to basically bridge over or take back that liquidity off of Ethereum, RLUSD, right? And we've officially flipped, Ethereum. When it comes to RLUSD on the XRP ledger versus Ethereum, we've officially had the flipping. It has occurred. And there's a lot of people that said this was never going to happen. The RLUSD on Ethereum was proof that Ripple was abandoning XRP, abandoning the XRP ledger, and they were now going to be focused on Ethereum. I can't wait to hear the excuses from those same folks as we now have the data point in front of us that we have more RLUSD on XRP than we do Ethereum. But how does this drive value to XRP? How do we get to high-priced XRP, Zach? This is the question everybody wants to get to, right? Every single RLUSD transaction on the XRP ledger burns a tiny amount of XRP. More RLUSD on activity on the XRP ledger means more XRP getting burned, and it also means more XRP getting locked up. If you understand how the XRP ledger works, you would know, right, that it takes, 1 XRP, 2 XRP to open up a wallet. So every person that wants to use the XRP ledger has to open up a wallet and has to lock up XRP. Now, the amount of XRP burned so far, 14 million, negligible. The amount of XRP locked up, also very small, right? But we're only at, 7 million XRP wallets? We're not even at 10 million XRP wallets compared to 50 million plus Americans that hold crypto, compared to the hundreds of millions of people that own crypto worldwide, compared to the 8 billion people that we have on the world, and compared to the billions of AI agents that are going to be transacting on the XRP ledger. The amount of XRP being burned and the amount of XRP being locked up right now haven't done a thing to move XRP price yet. And that's what we need to be prepared for. Because as RLUSD activity ramps up on the XRP ledger, that's the type of activity that leads to more XRP being burned and more XRP being locked up. On top of that, the XRP ledger's native DEX and AMMs use XRP as the bridge asset when there's no direct pair. So the more RLUSD volume flows onto the XRP ledger, the more XRP gets used. Utility and scarcity at the same time. Please note that this is going to be combined with the forces of FOMO that come back into the marketplace when retail wants to come back into crypto again, right? It's just like seasons. We go through winters, we go through the summer. We just had summer solstice, the brightest day of the year. The sun didn't set till, after 9 o'clock at night. I love this time of year. It's a lot of fun. It is hard to get the kids to go down at bedtime, but I love this time of year. But then you go through the winters, the darkest moments, and that's where we're at in crypto. We're at the darkest moment. But the next liquidity cycle is going to be another retail frenzy. The institutions are going to be piling in as well. But what I'm trying to direct the XRP conversation to right now, in my content and the rhetoric around XRP, is to the utility that we can build out and see make an impact on XRP price today. I'm saying that we don't need to wait for the next liquidity cycle for retail to come back with their money. We can start to drive growth in XRP today by participating in the ecosystem, by teaching people about the XRP ledger, by battling all this FUD about RLUSD replacing XRP, and most importantly, the lending protocol coming to the XRP ledger, combined with single asset vault, combined with permission DEX and permission domains, all of that, the XRP DeFi opportunity is what can start to lock up XRP, drive scarcity to the asset, and drive utility into our ecosystem today. We don't have to wait for the next liquidity cycle. And my argument, okay, all of the institutions are going to come, Ripple's going to flip the switch, and XRP is going to go to $589. Got it. Let's add to it. Let's not stop there. Let's not let Ripple and their institutional partners be the only one to drive value to XRP. Us as a community can start to drive value to XRP. And it's not Joe Blow throwing his $200 at XRP times tens of millions of locking up XRP supply in their wallets, but also putting their XRP to work in DeFi. And RLUSD is going to be critical to this because we now have bridged over to Ethereum's DeFi and all of the liquidity that's over there. And so what I'm telling you right now is, yes, we could sit around and wait for the next liquidity cycle and let Ripple and their institutional partners do all of the work. Sure. And maybe that does drive XRP to high prices at some point in the future. In fact, I believe that will happen. But my argument is, why stop there? Why not make a difference today? Why not onboard a friend, family, colleague member to XRP today? Why not help explain to somebody who's already in crypto but doesn't understand XRP DeFi? Let's help them understand that this is not just a banker's coin you need to hold and speculate that a riddle might come true someday. This is a ecosystem that's about to explode now, with retail participants and institutional participants driving scarcity, demand, and utility to XRP altogether. Now, I want to hear from you guys though. Are you guys buying the blood in the streets? Because we definitely have some right now. XRP came back to $1.01 this morning, June 25th, as I record this update today. Bitcoin came down to 58,000. And so when we're talking about liquidity cycles, just recognize this is the bottom, right? This is the bottom of the bear market. This is the crypto winter, the darkest before the dawn, right? This is where we're at. And I hope that I have been able to at least help you get into a position to be unemotional as we look at the charts today. You can say, okay, yep, I knew this was coming. We were prepared for this. Maybe I don't have any more dry powder to allocate, but at least I'm not worried. I still have conviction. I still understand the fundamentals. And as we've laid out in the video here today, we have a massive wave of liquidity coming to the XRP ledger. And it's not just Ripple and their institutional partners. It's going to be the XRP DeFi season in the second half of 2026. Most people aren't prepared for that. Now, if you guys are looking for a platform to get your retirement funds into digital assets or precious metals, we put these platforms in front of you because they're very valuable community resources that I use, the members of our community use, and we want to make sure that you're aware of them. So our sponsor, iTrust Capital, is offering a $100 funding bonus. When you go to the link down below in the description of this video, you're going to hit this button right here, Get Started, and you're going to choose which type of account you want to open up. The IRA for your retirement funds, the premium custody account, or the treasury account for your business, your LLC, your trust, or your nonprofit. And this is all US-based customer support. No fees, absolutely free institutional grade custody. And that Roth IRA, that is the platform where you can actually grow your wealth, not just in crypto, your precious metals. And they're actually bringing stocks and ETFs to the platform as well, too. So it'll be just a one-stop shop for all of your investments. And that can be done in the Roth IRA, where you can grow your wealth tax-free. Heck of a deal. And so, we have a few different options there. I've opened up the PCA. I'm in the process of opening up the Treasury accounts as well, too. But find out for yourself why our community's been loving their service, their products, and just being able to sleep peacefully knowing that your assets are stored in institutional grade custody and you're not paying a dime for that service, which I love too. So that's linked up down below. If you guys like this breakdown of how we get into the next liquidity cycle for XRP, the main drivers of that liquidity cycle, I hope that we're able to put this together in a way that brings value and is simple enough for everybody to understand, whether you've been in XRP for a while or whether you're new here. I hope that you appreciate this update. If you did, smack it for me on the way out, and make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell if you're new here. We'll be back live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Can't wait to see you there.